loses, or a whatchamajigger, and definitely not a whatchamacallit. But if you call him a whatsis, he's going to be very happy, because that's what he is. And if you scratch his head sometime today, he'll bring you good luck. He really likes to have young people scratch his head. And then he gives them something in return. So the second question, hi, Mother Finn.
The other captain is in the audience.
Hello there, darling. How are you? It's Captain Charlie.
No, the other captain.
The other captain.
Not that captain, the other captain.
The other captain. I couldn't see that far. I traded in my eye this morning, and it doesn't work very well. Oh, yeah, I think it belonged to a myopic bookkeeper. I don't know. Anyway, so people want to know how I got Roscoe. You want to hear the story of how I got Roscoe? Yes. All right. Well, I'm walking through the woods minding my own business when all of a sudden I hear, help, help. I'm looking all around wondering where the help is coming from. I see it's coming from the bog. Now, the bog is like a big swamp, and it's kind of stinky and very muddy. But worst of all about the bog is the bog crone lives there. The bog crone is a witch. And she's kind of as stinky as the bog. She never washes her hair, and her hair is full of spiders, and she never washes her clothes, and there's centipedes in all the pockets, and she never washes her socks, and there's slugs crawling in and out of all the toes in her socks. And she has a big eye in the middle of her forehead, and she can take that eye out and leave it looking at people. And the other thing about the bog crone is that she doesn't like anybody. She doesn't like anybody at all. But she does like making medicine for people. Like, for instance, she makes the wonderful, terrific, absolutely phenomenal spider stew. You ever had that?
No.
No? You're supposed to have a spoonful of that every morning to keep you healthy. Now, this is an honest-to-goodness medicine that they have during these particular times. And here's how you make it. You start off with a nice double handful of worms, and you mush them all up. And then you take a handful of snails, and you mush them all up too. And you hang them all up in a sack and let all their juices drip down in a bowl. And then you add some boring old herbs and spices. And then you also have to add a handful of spider webs, because spider webs catch disease. And that's how they call it spider stew, because it sticks it all together. And then you're supposed to take a spoonful of that every morning to keep you healthy, and 2 if you get sick. So here was the bog crone. And honest to goodness, this is an honest medieval recipe. Anyway, there was the bog crone, and she had a great big pot out, and she was making spider stew. And I'm wondering where the help is coming from. And I look around, and she has him in her hand, and she's going to throw him into the stew pot. So I went over and I said, Baba Baga, why are you going to throw him into the stew pot? And she says, well, I'm all out of my usual ingredient, so I'm going to use a whatsis instead. I said, no, you can't. He's yelling, help, help. She says, the whatsises don't say anything. I said, well, I hear him very well. I said, you can't cook the whatsis. And she says, well, I have to because I don't have my usual ingredient. I said, well, what's your usual ingredient? She says, it's mountain troll toenails, but I'm fresh out. And I said, well, how about if I go get you some mountain troll toenails? I'll run right to the store and get some. She says, no, you can't get mountain troll toenails at a store. She says, you have to get them from a mountain troll. I said, oh, okay. I said, where's the mountain troll? She said, up the mountain, of course. I can't go up there today. My knees are real cranky. I said, way up there on top of the mountain? She says, yes. So I went all the way up to the top of the mountain, and there was a great big cave with the mountain troll sitting in front of it, cutting his toenails so he didn't make a mess inside his cave, of course. And I said, oh, Mr. Mountain Troll, can I have some of your toenails, please? And he said, how much you going to pay me? I said, I got to pay you for toenails? And he said, of course you do. I said, well, what do you usually get? He says, something tasty. He says, I know. I would like to have some ogre earwax for lunch. I said, ogre earwax. I said, okay. I said, where do I get the ogre earwax? He says, from the ogre. I said, where's the ogre? He said, over on his mountain, of course. I said, you can't be on the same mountain. He says, no. So I went all the way down the mountain, all the way up the next mountain to where the ogre lives. And there was the ogre walking around gathering slugs for lunch. Now, you've got to be very careful with ogres, otherwise they're going to step on you and squish you between their toes. So I went over and I said, Mr. Ogre, could I please have some earwax? And he said, well, of course. He says, how much are you going to pay me? I said, I got to pay you for earwax. He said, yes. I said, well, what do you want? And he says, well, let's see, I would love to have some eel slime on these slugs for lunch. I said, eel slime, how lovely. I said, where do you find eels? He said, well, down in the lake, of course. I said, down there at the bottom of the mountain? He said, yes. So I went all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. Now, I don't know if you know this about eels, but they're just like pussycats. And if you flatter them, they'll do anything for you. So I said, oh, pretty eel, lovely eel. Pretty, 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 pretty eel. Come here, eel. And the eel swam over. I said, oh, what a pretty eel. Can I scritch you on your head? And he stuck his head up out of the water, gave him a little scritch. I said, I bet your tummy's even prettier than your head. Can I scritch your tummy? And the eel flipped over, and I scratched his little tummy, and I got a nice big handful of eel slime. I said, thank you very much, eel. Bye. And he made a pouty face at me. I think he wanted me to bring him home, but I don't have any place to keep an eel. So I went running all the way back up the mountain to where the ogre was. I said, here, ogre, here. I have your eel slime. And he says, well, put him on my slugs. So I put him on the slugs, and he said, oh, yum, gravy. And I said, can I have the earwax now? So he reached in his ear, and he got a great big gob of earwax. And I got a skunk cabbage leaf, and I wrapped it up all nice and neat like sushi. And I said, thank you very much, Mountain Troll. Remember, you've got to be very, very, very careful with ogres, otherwise they're going to stomp on you and squish you between their toes. And then I went all the way down the mountain, and all the way up the next mountain where the Mountain Troll was. And I said, Mountain Troll, I have your earwax. And he said, oh, look at that, all wrapped up nice and neat like sushi. You're a wonderful chef. And I said, yes, I know. I've been out cooking with the stars. And he said, okay. He said, here's a bag of toenails just for you. So, now a long time has gone by, and I'm really worried that Baba Baga has cooked the what's-this. So I grab the toenails, and I run all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. And there's the bog, and there's the bog, and there's the pot cooking spider stew, and there isn't any what's-this. And I said, Bog Crone, where's the what's-this? And she said, you were taking so long, I cooked them. I said, no. She says, I'm only kidding. And she pulled them out of her pocket and gave them to me. And now I have a what's-this, which I really don't know what to do with half the time. For one thing, they don't like water, so when you try to take a shower or a bath, it's really very difficult. And that's how I got Roscoe the what's-this. The end. Yay! Huzzah! Is that a huzzah? Yeah. Excellent. Well, we got here. I've been a wild zombie for many a year, and I liked eating brains, although folks called me weird. But now I'm reformed, I'm vegetarian, and I never will be a wild zombie again. Now this part, I also need audience participation. It goes like this, and it's no, nay, never. You have to clap 4 times when I say that. And it's no, nay, never. Clap, 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 clap. No, nay, never, no more. Clap, clap. Will I be a wild zombie? No, never, no more. Oh, you did that so well. Now, it's very hard being a vegetarian zombie. I only do it at fair. And I agreed to do it, and I signed the contract, and when I got here, I said, okay, where's all the vegetarians? I'm hungry. They said, I can't eat vegetarians. So I have to eat vegetables. So I went to the market, and what did I see? But an eye of potato was staring at me. A nice ear of corn, and a warm heel of bread, and an artichoke heart, and a nice cabbage head. It's not quite the same thing, but I guess it'll have to do. And it's no, nay, never. Clap, 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 clap. No, nay, never, no more. Clap, clap, will I be a wild zombie? No, never, no more. I'll make finger foods out of veggies and dips. And only toe cheese will pass these pure lips. I'll have a nice tea of Earl Grey and rose hips. And I promise to sit out the apocalypse. And it's no, nay, never. Clap, 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 clap. No, nay, never, no more. Clap, clap, will I be a wild zombie? No, never, no more. One more time. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Clap, clap, will I be a wild zombie? No, never, no